welcome to Garden Cafe. I'm Maureen, and this is my zone, Central Texas Zone 8B 9A garden. I thought today I'd take you on a November garden tour. So we're going to begin with my front swoop. Now, most places in the country, fall, things are winding down, they're going dormant. In Texas, after the heat is finally breaking, and it's barely breaking, we still get into the 90s, but it's lower than it has been. Our stuff is waking back up again and blooming, which is just beautiful. Over on the left side of the garden, obviously the mincas are loving life again and are blooming like crazy. They really did wonderful all summer, but they are definitely putting on more of a show now. This Mystic Spires salvia is just gorgeous. I've wanted it forever, and I finally got it this year, and I swear it's quadrupled in size. I got one of those small containers. My dahlias are still going. Haven't been real pleased with the ones in the front swoop. I think I might move those to the backyard next year and see how they do with partial sun, because this area is just brutal, hot, full sun. The roses are absolutely stunning. I love them. They do get very leggy, but Valentine's Day is the day that I cut back all of the roses on the property. Somebody told me to do that once. I just don't remember. I'm going to bring you in for a little bit more of a close-up for some of the specific flowers back here. The reason I have to bring you in for a close-up is I planted things like Angelonia, which this was just full, gorgeous, beautiful blooms all summer. And now they're definitely going to seed. So I'll probably be clipping this back soon. But planted this in front, which was huge, so you couldn't see anything at all that was in the back. The one of the ones that seemed to just do fabulous in Texas is the Saguaro Kawhi. You can see the blooms, the little red blooms with the center of white or yellow. Love that. Absolutely love it. Turns into a massive bush in Texas this time of year. I think I'm going to actually propagate some of this, and you'll see I have a few in different colors. I have the hibiscus back there, which really has done well. It stayed very tiny, and I think it might be because it just gets so much shade in this area, but I'm going to see how this works. The hibiscus I planted last year just did not survive. I've got the pink verbena. Let me see if I can show you. The pink verbena is so pretty. I love that. It's just in all different colors, range from white to just this dark pink. Love it. And the African daisies did terrible for me last year. I thought it just wasn't one for our area. And suddenly this year it all came back, and I just love those blooms. So I just have to be more cognizant of not planting tall things in front of the lower things that are so pretty. Oh, behind this red with the white Saguaro Kawhi, you can see the purple Saguaro Kawhi back there. So loving this area. Everything is definitely really enjoying the lack of brutal heat. Over here, I have my purslane, the yellow and white. Funny, I had so much of it in a pot on the back porch that I literally gave it a haircut. And instead of throwing away the branches, I just stuck them in the dirt back here. And this clearly is an area they love, so that's good for them. I have a hole in here that I put chocolate chip ajuga that I actually dug up from under a bush over on the other side. It blooms in the summer, and it's so pretty. I mean, this spring going into summer, so gorgeous. And I will post a picture here of that. There's white Saguaro Kawhi with the red dots in the center. Again, gorgeous bush. Love it. And my geraniums, which kind of shocked everyone that it made it through a Texas summer. Then over to the right side of the front swoop, blue salvia. I planted this in one section, and it just grew, and frankly, I love it. It's beautiful. So, okay, every so often, I need to give it a massive haircut because this thing will grow over everything. Back here, I have ageratum, which so pretty. I love it, and it's gotten pretty big in this area, and that's what I'm looking for. Very dense planting up here because it just gets brutal sun. This swath in between is from two mum plants that my daughter and son-in-law were given that died, and they had put those on the back porch after they were dead and dry. And I said, well, give them to me. It was back when I started experimenting with gardening. And I clipped it back, I watered it, I fertilized it. It grew into healthy bushes, so I planted both of them here. And then again, the Sawari Kauai and the hibiscus. And that's one color from one plant of their mums. And this one is the other color. So pretty. I didn't really intend for one to be in front and one to be behind. If I had thought about it, I would have planted them side by side so that when you walk up the walk, you'd see, both colors. But lots of blooms, very healthy, very happy. So I'm thrilled. One of the things I absolutely do realize are these bushes, this one and that one, they just look terrible and they detract from everything here. This entire area, this entire swoop used to be those bushes all the way along in front of the railing back here. And then we just had grasses growing in here, which was fabulous. No work, no energy. It was wonderful. But dug those up, planted flowers, and then one by one these bushes just died. They just looked horrible, and we took them out and replaced them with hibiscus and other things. So for sure this fall I'm taking that one out, and I'm taking out the one behind that rose bush. They're just not adding to the look I'm going for. I love my front porch mums and gourds. They're just full bloom now, which I just love. Tons of new buds in there too, so this should keep going for a little while. On the right side of our walkway, we have a ton of chocolate chip ajuga. Again, I'll put the photo again. This is actually quite a beautiful plant, but it was growing underneath these bushes, so we dug them up, and those are the ones we planted in that hole over there. And I do have some pom-pom dahlias that are ready to plant out. I may just put them right there in that hole on the other side. And then pentas, of course, is beautiful. So this is the left side of my front porch. I just planted new plants in this raised bed. They're doing well, starting to fill in, so that's nice. And I lost that video when I chose the plants. Try to find it over, and then the cyclamen and everything back here are the propagating, the cuttings, the stuff I'm saving. This is basically an area of shade for starters and for things I'm kind of holding on to before they get planted out. This is the area I converted from summer to fall. I'm happy with the way things are starting to fill in. I just did this 2 weeks ago, I think. I may have planted my cyclamen a little bit too early. The temperatures looked like they were going back into the 80s. This is a cold loving plant, and I think maybe I just planted it a little bit too soon. That's okay. They are not the most expensive plants in the world. I'll get more starters. And actually, I think I'm going to try to get some of the seeds, because it's already putting off seeds. It's just too hot for them here. Same things with the window boxes, the jumping jacks. I'll turn it a little bit here. They are loving it. They just think it's fabulous, and they totally point towards the sun. Again, cyclamen, planted them too soon. Little too hopeful on temperatures coming down. A few of them are still pretty strong. The leaves are really great. So my hope is that if anything ever does cool down in the state, those will come back. This is the Mexican petunia garden. Obviously, I just have a wall of Mexican petunias going all the way down the fence, and I'll show you that view next. Really happy with it. Definitely in this area, absolutely gorgeous. Some critter's been stomping around and messing with my petunias. Don't know what. You see lots of little footprints and lots of little holes, and something also just digs them up. I think looking for worms. We did see a possum on the fence, so I don't know if it's them. Originally, I thought it was the squirrels, but I don't know. It seems like something a little bit bigger. This entire area, and you can see all the Mexican petunias, is pretty much goes from part shade to almost complete shade to in the corner, part shade to then complete shade. Not as full as I'd like. I'm going to work on this a little more and add a few things next year. This entire area used to be an entire row of just the most gorgeous rose bushes. They were here when we moved in 25 years ago. Long time. Um, one by one, they did poorly, and we looked into it, and apparently they just sort of reached the end of their lives. So we pulled them up, and I made an attempt this year at a food garden. Clearly did not do very well. We did get a few green peppers. We got a few cherry tomatoes. Love my basil. That seems to do well. Onions. I just put in these pentas just because everything here has looked so terrible for so long. I just wanted something pretty. This winter, I plan on tilling everything, doing it the correct way. I didn't this year. Tilling it, mending it, putting mulch over it and letting it rest. And then in the spring, I'm going to try again. I don't want to give up on this. This is my back porch garden, and I think you've probably seen me do several videos of planting all of this up. I'm really happy with it right now. I love the way it looks. And this is, I think, my fall look going forward. This is the right side of my pond garden. I love the zinnias. That's the yellow ones, which were gorgeous. The purslane, of course, always is a showy color. I let a lot of this green moss fill in as ground cover because this area, I don't know, I wasn't happy with it. And the moss and this green, I don't even know what it's called. I'm going to find out. Seemed to give it a lot of protection. And I love this coleus. I'm so glad we put that over there. I've collected some of the seeds over the last few weeks. I'm also going to try to propagate it because I sure would love this next year. This is my pond garden. I love the ornamental kale. I actually got it last winter. It's more of a winter plant. Surprisingly, it lived through the summer, which is awesome. So I'm sure this will be in just a gorgeous show this winter. The inside grows this dark purple and the leaves are green. It's just beautiful. But I put other plants that are actually coming back. I mean, they are. They seem, I think temperatures come down enough that we're starting to see blooms in them again. So that's good. The pond, I'm going to have to get in that pond, take out that water lily, and take it back to ground zero again for next year. It's just completely overgrown and overtaken. You can see a few flowers. We do have beautiful flowers in there, but way too much water cover. So I'm going to get in there and take care of that next year, and that'll be a separate video. This is the left side of the pond garden. I'm happy with the profusion zinnias. We put in some blue lobelia in the front. I tried different things. There's a balloon flower in the back that's starting to grow back, and some verbena, which is absolutely gorgeous. Not happy with it. I'm definitely going to work on this a little bit. There are pieces and parts I love. I just don't like the way I put them together. My Thryallis, the yellow one back here, is doing gorgeous. I'm glad. We just got it a month ago. It's supposed to grow over 6 feet tall, and I'll show you the one we have in the back. I put mums in the front just to protect the lower part from brutal sun, but for the most part, I'm happy with this area. And my lantana is all gorgeous. This stuff always grows back, the orange red. The other one's not so much. I have purple and white and confetti, and I think I'm going to do some cuttings for that for next year, just so I have them to plant out again because they never seem to come back after the winter. The left back fence garden, I'm kind of happy with it. Profusion zinnias are coming back. There's the white lantana. That's one I want to get cuttings off of, see if I can save it and plant it back out in the summer. Oh, Swarry Kwai, doing great. Over here, I've got the orange Esperanza, which again is supposed to be glorious with mums around. Bit of empty space, but I do have plans that I will do here. A ginger curcuma and more Swarry Kwai down there. This is the no-till garden that we did a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago. I haven't planted anything new in here, so huge plans. The massive mum in the pot on my back porch, I'm actually going to putting that one right in here. Lots of space for planting and pretty, so that'll be nice. But really liking this, and I don't know if you can see this. Let me bring you in because this is a surprise plant that I absolutely love. This is a Mexican sunflower. It's a volunteer from another part of the yard. We threw out wild seeds and one of these grew. It died. And then all of a sudden, this one started growing over here. This is more partial light, so it's nice. Now that one's already been bloomed and is doing seeds. But they are so gorgeous and they are stunning. And this sucker gets to be 8-10 feet, and there's so many more blooms in here, or buds. Anyway, beautiful plant. Absolutely thrilled. It is in front of my Ixora, but for now it's okay. I know that it'll probably die over the summer, so if I see it again, I'll pick it up. I think I'll transplant it to an area where it could just have its own space and its own beauty. Now we're turning the corner here to the side fence, going back towards the front. This is a clerodendron. It has definitely seen prettier days. I need to come in here and really cut a lot of this back. It had some beautiful flowers. This is 1 year's growth, folks. And supposedly next year it's supposed to have even more beautiful blooms. But you definitely do cut it back and it will regrow just glorious. And it produces babies all over the place. But one of the things that was a bad idea to place it here is that even though this is a part sun area, it was too much sun. Sunlight touches these leaves and the entire plant wilts and looks like it's dying every single day. And then the second the sun goes down, it perks back up and it's beautiful the next day. So it just does not like any sun. So what I'm going to do is move, or actually dig up some of those babies right there. And I'm going to move it to the new no-till shade garden that I created a month and a half ago. I'm going to plant a few of them over on the fence. I would love for it to just grow up and be absolutely gorgeous. And I think it will really love it there much more. The only thing I did plant in the new no-till shade or total shade garden are these coleus, which are gorgeous. They're beautiful. They're growing. They should be big. They should be pretty. And I'm hoping they'll come back. My Stonehenge garden is another thing altogether. We tried to plant several things in here that just didn't make it, and I don't know why. There is a pool or a liner underneath here because the people who lived here before, and I'm talking 25 years ago, had a small fountain with an urn where the water just sort of overflowed the urn. So there is some kind of a liner deep under the ground here that does have a lot of soil, hence the honeysuckle mound, and the umbrella plants are just happy as ever. Could not get any flowering thing to go here. So I finally resorted to the vinca, which in my area is sort of the go-to color plant when nothing else works. But I really would like to get something more permanent out here. That would be wonderful. This is the new, I just call it the Against the House no-till garden. I have to come up with a better name. I may end up calling it Roses, something about roses, because I have the Savannah rose here, rock rose in the center, and the just went blank, and I'll put it up here. Seeds that I threw literally like a week ago, and they're starting to come up, which is pretty surprising. And all of the seeds I threw are seeds you throw in the fall. They will grow a little. They will go dormant in the worst part of winter, and then they're supposed to provide gorgeous spring blooms. So we're going to have to see on that one. And then down on the end here is the bearded iris that I just put in like a week ago. And I am seeing a little green. And that's another experiment of mine. So we'll see how it works. That should also go dormant in the winter and then provide spring blooms. But you should be seeing a little bit of growth over the next few weeks. This is my dining room window garden, and it's also new. I planted things that I love that are fabulous, but in the wrong order, in the wrong places. So next year I'll learn a little bit more. Here's a confetti lantana. I love these. They're so pretty. They do not come back, at least not for me. So I think I'm going to take some cuttings just to make sure I have, some to plant for next year. Zinnias I loved. They were absolutely gorgeous, but as you can see, they just get leggy and the leaves look awful. I mean, they still provide pretty blooms, and I cut them and bring them in the house. But it's not what I want people to see when they're walking through the house and they look out of this dining room window. I want them to see Gorgeous. So zinnias, no, I'm going to be putting them along the house in a cut garden plan that I have over there. I'm going to throw tons of zinnia seeds. The capsaicin back here, this black pearl capsaicin, I love. It's one of my husband's favorites. It's so pretty. It starts out with these green leaves, and then it goes to purple flowers, and then it goes to red red berries, and then those berries turn black, hence black pearl. I love it. It's supposed to get huge, and I'm happy with that. Everything else is just filler. It's land. It's vinca. It's I did do a pentas over there, which I actually do like. I planted some kufia. It's scarlet kufia, and I've got purple and white kufia back there. Haven't done real well, and it's funny because I planted them along the wall thinking they'd grow up so you'd see them through the window, but instead they seem to have crawled under a lot of plants and are growing this way. So I'm not sure what I'm doing with that next year. We'll see. Straight across from the dining room window, you get this view, which I'm very thrilled with. And this is an example of the thryallis and how big it gets. I pointed out the thryallis we planted on the back fence. I weeded like, just bags of weeds came out of this area in here and exposed some of the plants I had completely forgot were here. I've got some really Sweet William, massive. It's growing huge. No flowers yet, but now that it's exposed to a little light, I think we might see it. I'm really happy with the way this looks, and I'm going to move the camera, pan it to the right here. And this is the other side of the bench garden. I'm thrilled with it. I am. I'm very happy. Shockingly, these pentas did better than any pentas I planted anywhere else in the yard. And I honestly did not think they'd do well at all since it's almost entirely full shade under this tree. But they seem to love it there. I love the profusions, orange profusion zinnias down there are just absolutely gorgeous. I just love the entire color combination back here. Very happy with it. Some of it is absolutely coming back and giving us more of a show. And again, I think that's all to the fact that we have been under triple digit temperatures now for probably a month, which is a relief, but boy, I'd like less heat. I hope you enjoyed my November garden tour. If you did, please hit subscribe or like below. And as always, please leave comments. I'd love to hear from you.